ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the god of gacha is back at it again. He is back at it again with another hit piece regarding quite a few creators. You're not going to see it frame one of this video. You're instead going to see his cleanly shaven face, thank God, but you're going to see it on the thumbnail. Boy, oh boy, you got me, you got LOL Shinya, and you also got big ol' Tone in the background over there, or this one. The God of Gacha definitely does have a history of making hit pieces on creators like myself, as well as Tectone. And there are a couple of receipts over here that we'll be bringing up across the React, potentially. But it's safe to say that we've had a bit of a rocky history where, you know, he's been the one on the offensive. And, you know, after a bit of radio silence, I think he's ready to make a stand. So why don't we go ahead and see what he has to say.
The online gacha space is not in a great spot right now. We got content creators out here attacking others, spreading misinformation, making React Andy slop, and calling other content creators pedophiles.
Wait, does that mean that you won't shit on Zadja anymore because you won't hold grudges anymore? Oh no, Zadja. Not Zadja. Absolutely not. The guy's a pedophile.
Your usual gacha game discourse on the internet by the day.
I'm pretty sure Tectone calls him that, just openly, because Zod Jeff openly called him a sexual assaulter on Twitter numerous times. So I think it's kind of like a bit of a bit of a slander war that they have against each other, where they just regularly accuse each other of crimes. Which is, you know, I guess at that point, I guess it's fair game on both sides, right? So yeah, we won't put that reference in there though, because naturally we're clearly supposed to take a one-sided view of our dislike for other people.
Day looks more and more like Elon Musk's personal bondage dungeon known as Twitter. And no, I'm not calling it X. I would tell Elon to go fuck himself, but I think an even bigger idiot told him to do that already. Now that this video is off to a great start, I'm sure, here's the problem.
Well, the video is off to a start where we have covered issues from only one side of the equation to make certain parties look as bad as possible. So yeah, I guess it is a pretty solid start.
A lot of gacha content creators out there, not all, but quite a few of them, and more of them keep popping up as time goes on, are not what I would consider to be gacha content creators.
This is Tohu's definition of gacha content creator. Regularly uploading videos that nobody watches as like a progress update on the 17,000 different gacha games that we're playing. You don't have to take my word for it. This isn't really content that I think people are looking forward to watching, if we're frankly being honest. And your job as a gacha content creator is to make gacha content that people want to watch. So I think that Tohu kind of taken this stand as somebody that knows what the role entails is a little nonsensical, if we're frankly being honest. That's just my take, though.
At least not good ones. And no, contrary to popular belief, viewer count is not necessarily a metric of content quality. So, I want to say it how it is. The current actions and behavior of these gacha CCs that I mentioned earlier, and some of their viewers, are going too far and are starting to undermine the gacha community as a whole. Now, who am I to be saying this, you might ask? Some of you may already know who I am, but in case you don't, well, normally I have this thing that I like to do at the start of my videos, but this time, instead of me just saying it, let me show you. I'm Tohu, and I am the god of gacha games. Check it out.
Hey, roll credits. Bro made his own AMV. Bro made his own AMV. He's like, look at all these. Bro, he's such a badass. Bro, he's such a badass. He's so cool. Bro, he's so cool. Look, he threw a planet at them. Bro, why is the music so like shit quality? It's at like 50 bit rate. What the fuck? How long is this thing? Bro, it just keeps going. We're 3 minutes in the video.
To keep this brief, because I got more important things to talk about in this video, again, I'm Tuhu.
I'm sorry, but to keep this brief, because I have more important things to talk about in the video, after a fucking... Guys, that was on 1.5x speed. That was legitimately 2 minutes. It started at like 1:30, and then it just... He says to keep it brief after a 2-minute self-made AMV of our gacha gameplay. This video is already off to a terrible start.
And I call myself the god of gacha games. You may see some rats down in the comments below, or some bigger rats reacting to this video later, call me shit like the god of beggars and the god of unemployment, thanks to this bald-ass retard, but like the pieces...
That is an incredibly dishonest way to view the situation. The reason why people are calling you the god of beggars and the god of unemployment is because you're literally on the record begging Tectone for things like raids, begging him to react to your videos. Yeah, this is where we're begging for raids. Don't worry, there's more. Begging him to react to your videos, begging for money and a job. Why are you blaming him for the messages you sent to him? Why are you calling him a bald retard when you're the one that sent these messages and all he did was show them? And these are a lot of messages. You're begging for sponsors. What are we doing here? Saying that God of Unemployment and God of Beggars is not actually a fire-ass name, considering everything that's occurred. Was the expectation that everyone was just gonna forget about all of this, now that you waited like 2 months to upload your next hit piece on people? That people were just going to forget everything that was in here? I think that I got most of the good bits, but believe me, there's more. You can just watch this video. Yeah, well, we might just link it in the comments below because we've already looked at all the gold bits in here. Brother, that's why people are calling you the god of beggars. It's just that simple.
This is a trash you find out on the streets, you can just kick them aside and ignore them for now. We'll come back to them later. For those of you who aren't rats like them, but you're not exactly a fan of me calling myself the god of gacha either, you can just go ahead and think of me as a gacha connoisseur. Obviously, I'm a very big fan of gacha games. I've been playing them for 8 years now, and right now I'm currently maining and keeping up with 13. Actually, no, it's now 14, now that my chat's convinced me to go pick up Brown Dust 2 to take part in their recent second anniversary, and with even more to come in the future as they come out. But enough about me. I'm here to talk to you about what I think is a growing problem that we have within the gacha community online.
4 minutes and 26 seconds into the video, we're finally getting to our first actual point. After all of this edging, I am certainly ready for release.
Be it on stream, YouTube, or Twitter. Basically, it's an issue of gacha game tribalism that's gotten way out of control. For those of you curious as to how this all started, from my perspective, it first began when Wuthering Waves launched in May of last year. And before I elaborate on that, let me make it clear right now that I'm not trying to blame the game itself or its developers for the situation that I'm about to talk about. Mainly because I think that something like this probably would have happened anyway, even if it weren't WUWA and if it were a different game that came out instead, assuming that it would have been of a similar quality and style. This gacha is also one of my top 3 gachas at the moment, and I want nothing but the best for it, its developers, and its players. The ones who truly enjoy the game and don't go around bashing other gachas in the process anyway. I'd like to make a future video discussing the situation in further detail, but for now, the long and short of it is that when Wuthering Waves launched and proved to be a very successful gacha game in its own right, a very vocal part of its player base began to vehemently support their game by comparing it constantly to Genshin Impact and talking about how much better WUWA was than Genshin or eventually other Hoyo games. For the record, to a certain extent, I don't disagree. I made a tier list video earlier this year in which I ranked all the gacha games I was playing at the time based on how good they were as overall games.
So, is what he's upset about is that other people are talking about facts that he also believes himself? People are taking literal facts about both games and making videos about them, and that's why we're not happy. Because he himself said that he agrees with the points.
And I ranked WUWA considerably higher than Genshin. I've also made 2 videos over the years discussing the ways in which I would improve Genshin, so clearly I have my own fair share of critique on that game too.
Okay, so we're all kind of in the same boat over here. Genshin has a lot of shit that's wrong with it, and WUWA does a lot of the shit that's wrong in Genshin. It does it a lot better.
But several content creators like Tectone and Saintontas saw the tribalism going on in the WUWA fandom and decided to take advantage of it by beginning to make content catering to those players, pandering if you will. They began to make videos and other content blasting Genshin or other Hoyo games and praising WUWA or the developer's Kuro game because it was, and to a certain extent still is, the popular thing to do.
Have you ever thought about it this way, my friend Tohu Sniper? You can just look back on so many of the things that Genshin's done, or really hasn't done, over the past year since WUWA's released. And one thing it hasn't done at all is actually implement quality of life that players have been asking for 5 years. Yeah, you remember artifact loadouts? Wuthering Waves literally has the perfect version of Echo/Artifact loadouts, and they added those in February of this year, and Genshin still hasn't been able to do it. And the idea is, yes, it is making content critical of Genshin to potentially, hopefully, possibly humiliate the devs into realizing, wow, they're doing fucking nothing. They're putting in literally zero effort, while this smaller company that makes less money than they do, billions less dollars, is actually putting in updates and changes that are improving the game. But Genshin has refused to do those for 5 years. And so, it is echoing the thoughts and frustrations of players across both games. Because we've always gone in with the assumption and the take that if Genshin actually went ahead and fixed these problems within the game, we would start playing it again more actively. And so these are videos, these are critiques directed to literally make Genshin Impact better because the devs aren't doing it. And we're putting a negative spin on that. We're getting upset about that because other people want gacha games to be better. That's really what's happening over here. How strange. Keep eating your slop, Tohu. I'm sure you enjoy it.
In the beginning, their content may have started out as genuine criticism of MiHoYo and their gacha games. Sure, assuming that I'm not cutting them too much slack here. But over time, it's devolved into basically painting a one-sided narrative, pitching Wuthering Waves as the supposedly vastly superior gacha game versus the supposedly vastly inferior Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero,
Absolutely.
whose developers they label as, let me check my notes here, greedy, lazy, and incompetent. Let me know if I missed anything. Content creators like them have been pushing...
Where's the lie? What would you call Genshin's implementation of artifact loadouts? What would you call Genshin still having randomized weekly bosses in their drops? Not having talent materials every single day of the week? Not instituting basic quality of life that would make the game better? That would take literally no effort at all? Other than those three adjectives. Lazy, incompetent, greedy.
This narrative for long enough that over the past year, I've been seeing a steady increase in other CCs who are emulating their style. Streamers and YouTubers alike who have since joined in on pushing that same narrative for their own reasons. Whether it's because they want to take advantage of the WoWa player base too, by propagating the whole WoWa good, Genshin bad plotline and build their own channels the easy way, or because they are genuinely fanatical believers of the WoWa agenda.
Hey guys, making content that people want to watch is the easy way out. If you want to be a real content creator, you have to make content that nobody wants to watch. That's the real way to do it. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be a real content creator and you don't want to just take the easy way out, you've got to grow your channel by making videos and content that nobody wants to watch. Tohu, just because you are bad at your job, just because you don't know how to do your job properly, that doesn't mean that everyone else that is doing their job properly is like cheating or taking the easy way out, or is like taking shortcuts. No, that's not the case. It's just that you have no idea what you're doing. You've put yourself on a pedestal for some godforsaken reason. You're talking about things like you know the right omnipotent fucking most, like the right way to do things when you have absolutely nothing to show for it. Where are these credentials coming from? Where is this sort of like self-worth coming from when there's nothing to show for it? It's cringe. It's weird. You're talking like a person of authority when there's no backing to it at all.
While I'm aware that several other YouTubers have already pointed out what kinds of problems this poses for the gacha scene in their own videos that they've made recently, please go check those out too if you're interested. Links down in the description. From my point of view, the problem is threefold. First, it perpetuates needless friction between gacha game communities by weaponizing tribalism online and provoking other player bases by constantly projecting a superior stance about a gacha, in this case, WoWa. Or in layman's terms, they're fucking annoying. If a MiHoYo fan wants to talk about how
they don't watch the video, pussy. Oh, wait. I think I know what's going on. Tohu simply gets annoyed seeing everybody that's not him get views on their videos. That's probably the situation. He doesn't even need to watch the video. He probably will just go in and see that somebody else is getting views, and then that will naturally just trigger him.
Oh, they got a C3R1 skirk. Chances are they're not going to be able to post that on Twitter without a WoWa fan noticing, coming along, and screaming in their ear about how greedy MiHoYo is. And the way things are going, we're only going to see this more often. And the more that players talk shit to each other to this degree, the worse the tribalism gets. Now, I understand that there's...
Then block them. Is everybody 5? Is everybody 10 years old? What, they don't know how to manage their own social media feeds? Brother, you could go in and say that you like Oreos on Twitter. You could say you like bananas. And then somebody will tell you that you're going to get diabetes or you're going to get like fucking cancer from eating all that food. And so you could just decide, oh, I can pretend that this is a big issue make a big deal out of it, or I could just block the person or literally just ignore them because I know what they're saying is like nonsense or I don't like it.
Always going to be some shit talk between players of different gachas. That's just how the internet is, and I'm not saying that, oh, people can't talk shit or shouldn't be able to talk shit about gachas or just games in general that they don't like. I'm also not suggesting that it can't go both ways. I'm sure that there are MiHoYo fans out there who can also be just as annoying and insufferable to deal with as the Wuwa dick writers. But I think a lot of the shit talking going on in the gacha space right now has long escaped the realm of just trash talk and has...
So he acknowledges that it's happening on both sides, but he's just getting hypercritical about Wuthering Waves players critiquing other games. Why?
Mutated into full-blown propaganda, given the kind of content I'm seeing coming out of the rats like Saintontas as of late. This leads into the second reason. Because a narrative has entered the realm of propaganda...
Proof? Hey, are you just gonna say it's propaganda? Where's an example of it?
People, both the ones propagating it and the ones who buy into it, will refuse to hold any discourse about the games they play.
Did we just say that my entire channel is propaganda and then not provide a single example of it? Tohu, this is what I'll say about your channel. It's a fucking wasteland. It's dog shit. It's filled with videos that nobody wants to watch. And you want to know the proof that I have for it? It's literally just a picture of your channel. That is the proof. The claim I'm making is that nobody wants to listen to you. Nobody wants to watch your videos. Nobody wants to watch you as a content creator. All they want to watch is you trying to shit on other people. Because at the end of the day, the only content that does well on your channel is not about you or your gameplay or your takes. It's about other people. That is the only time in the past 6 months that you have attained any level of relevancy. And don't worry, literally, the B-roll of me scrolling through your channel history, that is all the proof that I need to say that. Because you literally cannot break 1K unless you are talking about somebody else. You maybe do it one time. Brother, what are you doing making sweeping generalizations about anyone else's content? It's embarrassing. You need to stop. Or if you're not going to stop, maybe provide proof before making bold claims like my entire channel is propaganda. You dummy.
Part of what makes a community for a game healthy and vibrant is the discussion that those people have about various aspects of that game because they have a vested interest in seeing their game grow and develop.
Okay, so he's just not going to provide any proof. He's just not going to provide any examples at all. You are surely appealing to a intelligent crowd of people where you just openly made claims, didn't provide any proof at all, and then everyone's just believing it. Wow. Okay, let's keep going.
Hopefully in a direction that they all want it to go in, but people will inevitably have, differing opinions on how their game should go about doing that. The important thing to remember, though, is that while we can get emotionally invested into our discussions about our favorite gacha games to the point where every now and then we'll get some spicy drama out of it, and who doesn't like a bit of drama, right? I mean, hey, if you don't believe me, just go ask the people who watch Tectone. We cannot forget.
Why is this guy talking about drama in a negative fashion when drama is the only thing on his channel that gets views? Drama video, 7.3. Non-drama, absolute fucking no man's land. Our last view above 5K was a drama video. Then we're back to sub 1K, and then we got a drama video. Drama video. Drama video. Drama video. Drama video. And that's the only thing that's breaking 10K on this channel. Or frankly, 7K on this channel is just drama videos. How is somebody lack this much self-awareness? It's impressive. It's intentional and impressive and also embarrassing all at the same time.
That the reason why we get ourselves into some shit in the first place is hopefully because we want what's best for our games that we play. But the people who buy into the propaganda, in most cases the Kuro good, Hoyo bad propaganda, but then again, sometimes it can be the opposite too, refuse to have that discussion in the first place because they base their views and opinions on a one-sided narrative that doesn't allow for a different stance on the matter.
Isn't it ironic that we're talking about one-sided narratives when that's all we've done in this situation? We've literally only presented one side for every single argument that we have. We talked about people making drama videos in a negative light like we're not doing it. We talked about Tectone and Zajef with their defamation war one-sidedly because we didn't show the time that Jeff called him a grapist. And then we're going to represent my channel one-sidedly by saying it's entirely propaganda, but then not show any of the videos or the takes that would confirm that. We're out over here indicting other creators for one-sidedly representing issues when that is literally the only thing that we have done this entire video. Surely we're not this stupid, right? Because this is really, really, really dumb. I hope it's intentional to be this dumb.
And by refusing to have discussion at all, by skipping the whole discussion part and going straight into the drama, they don't care what's best for a gacha, not even their own. They care more about being right, or at least feeling like they have the correct opinion. Even worse, this sort of behavior and conduct, as I mentioned earlier, will cause players of other gacha communities to react in a similar way once they've been targeted. Again, shit talking on the internet is an infinite loop, and people will talk trash to each other until eventually one side stops. But we all know damn well that when entire communities get involved, it might never end. And the third and most concerning reason is—
Yeah, you just block people you don't like listening to. Like I said before, we're out here acting like we have no agency at all.
Is that this is not a problem that I want us gacha players to be having right now. Because right now, from my point of view, looking forward into the future, we are in what I think is a critical transitional period in the gacha timeline, where MiHoYo is no longer the only player in the big production gacha market here in the West. But it's still only Hoyo and Kuro for now. Or in other words, we're transitioning from the period when Genshin was the sole king of the big boy gachas to a time when it'll be a whole party of big boy gachas, all duking it out and competing with each other, with games like Arknight's Enfield, Duet Night Abyss, Ananta, NTE, Silver Palace, and others we don't even know about yet right now, all coming out in the future. This is precisely the time when I feel we need to have this conversation, to act now to prepare for what's to come. The gacha space will only get bigger with all these new gachas coming out, big or small or anything in between. There will be tons of new players and old players alike, either picking up gachas for the first time or coming back to the ones they used to play. And
Kohu has like this weird thing that he does where he actually spits like correct and just like, you know, observational information. But you have to ask yourself, what does this have to do with anything that he was saying? He does this a lot like in his videos. That's why I think like he actually has like some okay thoughts in his head, but it's like he's trying to purpose them into like some sort of like reinforcement to his attack against other CCs. And you're just left wondering, what the fuck is his intention in the first place? What is he even trying to do?
I want them all to have a good time with gacha games, whichever ones they decide to play, whether it's just one game or a handful at once. As someone who enjoys gacha to the point where I willingly subject myself to 14 of them at once, I think that whatever gacha game you decide to play is pretty cool. For the record, let me be perfectly clear. Any gacha game is worth playing. Gacha games are very fun. In my humble opinion, some of the most fun games that you can play right now, though I will stress that they are not for everyone. But as long as you have a reason to play one, any reason at all that doesn't involve you playing a gacha for the sole purpose of talking shit on another one, then it's worth putting your time and effort into it.
Bro is out here acting like you critiquing Genshin for still having weekly locked talent materials is like you just talking shit because you hate the game. If you're explicitly talking about the things in the game that you don't like, you provide solutions for how it can be better, and you pinpoint exactly why those issues are bad. What is the problem? If you're getting upset by somebody critiquing your game validly, somebody bringing real points, real discussion, real issues to the table, and you're getting upset by the fact that your devs aren't fixing stuff, that is a you problem. Now we're going ahead and we're trying to blame other people. We're trying to say that other people are being negative when the only negativity that's occurring are the people adversely reacting to critiques. Players of a game defending the company when the company is literally the one making the game bad. Is that what this whole thing is about? Because that's what the interaction is. Somebody critiques Genshin for valid reasons. You can see it happen with Bran Online. You can see it happen with Doro44. Some of the biggest shills of yesterday. They critique Genshin a single time for a valid, real reason, and then the community turns on them because they dared say that something in the game wasn't good. And we're saying that the people calling out their critiques are the problem. There's a literal track record of it. Brother, you can literally just look at the posts that people like Bran have made. We got people like Braxophone jumping in. We got people like Bran jumping in. They make one post, one video critical about the game for actual issues. The topic here was Stygian Onslaught, one of the worst endgame modes we've ever seen in a gacha before. They called it bad. How dare they do that? How dare they say that something is bad in the game? And they called out that it's bad. We gotta go crucify them, boys. Who cares if they've been a positive member of our community for 4+ years? We gotta crucify them because they said something negative one time. You're telling people that the community's response is not the issue, is not the problem. Okay.
But even your money too if you feel like it's worth it. Or, since I prefer a more cynical approach here, I like to think of gacha games in this way. All of them are fucking trash. Gacha games are simultaneously some of the worst video games that you can play right now, to the point where I almost think it's just better for you straight up to go play League of Legends or something, if only for the sole reason that whenever you talk shit, at least you're talking shit to other League players, and not being an insufferable Wuwa dicksucker, jacking themselves off over how good Wuwa's story is, and calling Star Rail's story trash, when in reality, both of those game stories are absolute fucking dog shit. So
this is literally one of the worst videos on Wuwa's story in existence. We've made a react to this. I think this vid is by Sayeki. This is literally possibly the worst critique on Wuthering Waves' story that's on the platform, where it's evident that he skipped the entirety of all the quests that he was talking about. He got key details wrong, when he was describing Wuthering Waves. And his critiques are clearly 1000% misinformed. And then Touhou used this video as an example of a legitimate critique. Good God.
So if you'll excuse my harsh language for just a little bit longer, it doesn't fucking matter what gacha you decide to get yourself into. Because at the end of the day, all of them are greedy gambling programs that bait you into wasting your money on pixelated anime girls and boys by taking advantage of underhanded tactics like FOMO, bigger value packages and bundles, and paywalling characters.
You understand that the conditions of a gacha game aren't as good as they possibly could be. And so you're shitting on people who are going ahead and asking that the hellish conditions be made slightly less hellish. You could have a gacha game that literally kicks you in the balls every single time you log in. You could say, hey, this game doesn't kick me in the balls every time I log in. Isn't it good that it does that? Shouldn't other games not kick me in the balls every time I log in? I think that would be good for the space if that occurred. And then Touhou would come over here, crawling out of his sewer. He'd be like,
stop being toxic. Every game is bad anyways. Stop being toxic. Stop talking about it.
and you're just like, what? That's literally what he's been doing for the past, 6 months. And it's such strange behavior.
Again, let me repeat myself. All gachas are trash.
And he seems to be under this mindset, because I, the god of gacha, am saying that all gachas are bad in the first place. Well, it doesn't matter how bad they are. It doesn't matter if one's more bad than the other. They're just universally all bad, so just don't talk about it. This guy doesn't understand, there are degrees to badness and degrees to predatoriness. And what competition does is it leads to companies competing on how predatory or bad their games are. And so when you have more competition, you can't be as predatory or bad. And the issue with Genshin, that Touhou seems to have an issue with, is that Genshin now has an abundant amount of competition, either in the present with Wuwa, or in the future with all the games that he just talked about. And so, people are making content because of all this competition, because Genshin has no leg to stand on, still having all of its outdated systems still in the fucking game. It's that clear. It's that simple. But again, he's one-sidedly representing the issue and just saying, well, they're all bad anyway, so what's the point of talking about it? What a pussy.
Perhaps there are some out there that are better than others. Gee, I wonder, for example, what this dude thinks is one of the better ones. But just because you give a piece of shit a coat of polish doesn't change the fact that it's still a piece of shit. So at that point, it doesn't matter which one you play, but rather the only things that do are if you enjoy your time with it and...
Not pre-watched, by the way, but how did I know this was the exact thing that he was gonna say? How was I able to read him like a book just from the bullshit route of reasoning that I knew he was going down? They're all bad, so who cares?
You don't feel the need to go shit on other people who happen to enjoy other gacha games. But for lots of people out there, it's a bit tough for them, unfortunately, to enjoy a gacha game when some idiot with their own little cult on YouTube is screaming at them through their phone or computer screen about how bad their game is.
Then don't watch the video, dumbass. How am I supposed to feel about somebody intentionally deciding to watch things that don't make them happy and then they end up unhappy afterwards? If you don't like the video, don't watch it. Am I am I Emma Frost, bro? Am I gonna use my ultimate? I look at you and you're forced to look at me? Is that the situation that's happening over here? Bro's acting like I grip them with my eyes. And then they're not allowed to pause the video or turn it off. That's not how it fucking works, bro. If you don't like content, literally don't watch it. It's that simple.
Just because it goes against their agenda. For those of us who are used to this sort of behavior from the rats already, or are able to ignore them somehow, that's one thing, but my concern is for the newcomers. People who will join the gacha community at large through future gacha games. And
yeah, newcomers should know that Genshin Impact is a dog shit game in 2025 that has aged incredibly poorly. And so they should, as a consumer, go with the product that respects them the most as a customer and that they'll get the most value out of. And Genshin Impact is not a product that does any of those. It's quite that simple.
I don't want them to have a bad time just because they came across one of Saintontas' fanboys, or worse yet, they become one of them, which is exactly what rats like him want in the first place, so that he can keep farming views and attention with little to no repercussion.
Did he just say that I'm a rat because I want more people to view my content? Did he just say it's a rat move to want to add people to your community? Did he say it's a rat move to want to grow your subscriber base? Is this guy retarded? I'm gonna be honest with you. Hey guys, you see this content creator over here whose job is to grow their community and get views and, do that? They're a rat for wanting to grow their views and grow their community. Bro's out here He's the same type of person that would get mad at a bakery for, like, doing advertising. He would get mad at, like, a chip company for saying that they have 25% less saturated fat than a competitor. Look at this rat chip company trying to, like, go ahead and put down this other brand. Chips are all bad. Chips are just junk food in the first place. How dare they try to present themselves as a slightly more healthy option compared to their predators or compared to their competitors? Such a rat move. How dare they do business properly?
I want them to come in, see what gacha Twitter or YouTube is like, and then never want to interact with anyone in the gacha space ever again. Or even worse, join them like I said before.
Tohu, why are we going out over here acting like other creators are a bad influence? The only thing that your viewers or your regular viewers are influenced to do after watching your videos is do something in Minecraft.
The fact that gacha games have a pretty bad reputation out here in the West to people who don't play gacha doesn't exactly help either. So as someone who wants to see gacha games evolve, especially the perception of them, seeing content creators like these run their slop mills is not what I want to see happening. I remember one of my viewers asking me when I was talking about this on stream one day, and? So what? If people want to make React Andy slop content and talk shit on other people in the community and rage bait, you should let them. What's so bad about it as long as it brings in the views? To answer that, other than the fact that you get people like Tectone and Saintontas from it, I want to give you an analogy. Think of the gacha space online as a park, for example, where you go to hang out, play basketball, go for a jog, stuff like that. This park has a lot of people who use it on a regular basis to do whatever it is they like doing there. Stuff you normally do at a park. But then eventually, either suddenly or gradually over time, you start getting people come to the park because it's getting popular and they don't treat it properly. They litter, throw rocks at birds and squirrels, smoke when there are no smoking signs 3 feet away from them telling them not to, vandalize stuff, tag stuff with graffiti, and in general don't take care of the park like they should, and be a nuisance to everyone else around them who are actually using the park correctly and respectfully. And because there's no security at this park, because why would a normal-ass park like this have dedicated security? And because other people don't want to tell these assholes to stop being assholes, these people trashing the park will keep making more and more of a mess out of it. And all the shit that they're doing will affect more and more people using the park and their enjoyment of the place. Not only that, but a lot of newcomers who come to the park to check it out will see the kind of mess that people are making there and not want to come back. And not only will they leave with a negative impression of the place, but also they'll wonder to themselves how the people who've been using it could let the park deteriorate to that degree. And thus they'll develop a negative impression of those people too. And it's not like
Bro's acting like we're out here. Immovable objects in front of somebody's YouTube channel. They have to click our video. They can't not click our video. They have to watch everything. They act like after people see one of our videos, they have to go ahead and start talking about them on Twitter. They have to talk about how bad everything is. Brother, have you ever thought about for a second, maybe people agree with these takes, and that's why they're going ahead and talking about it and engaging with them. Maybe, Tohu, because it's been a really long time since you've made takes that people agree with. Maybe you simply don't understand that other people can have opinions that the community actually agrees on. And just because the community agrees with somebody else's opinions that isn't yours, even though you're the self-professed god of gacha, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with it. And I think that's what the issue is over here. Tohu is really upset because he's put himself on this pedestal as the god of gacha, and somebody dare value another person's opinion more than his. Because they're not the god of gacha. They're not playing 15 gacha games right now. How dare they even try to have any clout, any voice of authority, any sway in this space? They're not as good as him. And so the end result is just like, what are these irrelevant posers doing in Tohu's park? They need to leave.
they're gonna know how to differentiate between the assholes actually trashing the place and the ones who actually use it properly. And unlike the rats,
And yes, Tohu is the arbiter of what qualifies as trashing the place and what qualifies as using it properly. He's the only one who knows how to use the park correctly.
someone who genuinely cares about gacha games and is deeply invested in seeing its evolution over the years so that I can better understand them and, more importantly, better teach people getting into gacha games about what they're really like. Naturally, I don't like what I'm seeing the rats do to the gacha space right now.
This all hinges on Tohu being the only person in the space that knows what's good for it. That is this entire video. That is this entire stance. That is this entire argument. And it all falls apart when you come to the simple realization that he's just wrong, that he's just not correct. And then everything that he said in this video completely falls flat and has no weight at all.
I enjoy playing gacha games, but I also enjoy seeing other people enjoy gacha games as well. Seeing people get excited for new characters, whole new gacha games even, celebrating their roles in gacha, showing off their latest builds for the characters, making fan art for their games. These are the kinds of things that I want to see on Twitter. Not the fucking clown's 4th or 5th attempt at slandering a Hoyo game, failing miserably, and then blaming the community for that game for the dumb shit he's pulled, like he's some sort of protester who thought it'd be a great idea to go protest in the middle of a highway and gets pissed off that he got his ass run over. I've spent the last 8 years having a
Is this guy getting mad at me for my ZZZ takes that have been 100% correct? They've all been 100% correct the entire time. Straight up. The game is not doing well. The game is hilariously mismanaging so much of its budget and so much of its progression. 2.0 was literally one of the worst version updates, I think, in the history of gacha. As a patch, 2.0 is inexcusably awful.
ton of fun with a lot of different gacha games out there, and I want everyone else who truly enjoys gacha to do the same. But if you're here to push an agenda, to push a narrative that only paints certain gacha games in a good light but others in a bad one, then straight
How about you come to the realization that if an update was good, then people would call it good. You're blaming creators for saying that bad updates are bad and not lying and saying that bad updates are good. Is that really what's going on over here?
Straight up, I don't think you should be a part of this community. And while usually I don't have a problem with content creators who choose to focus on React Andy content, if you call yourself a gacha content creator, but your content consists of nothing but, or mostly, React Andy slop, and you're part of the Rat Pack glazing one gacha and demonizing another, you're not a gacha CC. You're a gacha tourist. I said at the beginning of this video that the problem with the gacha space right now basically boils down to gacha tribalism that's spiraled out of control.
Hey guys, in order to be a gacha CC, you just have to make videos that nobody wants to watch. Yeah, to be a gacha CC, you just have to spam gameplay videos, knowing that nobody watches them, but you just keep making them anyways. You're gonna then put yourself on a pedestal from there, say that your lack of results is actually the right way to do it, and that anybody else that's doing anything slightly different is doing it wrong. Because, right, we need to rationalize our failures. We have to rationalize our inability to make it in this space and then try to downplay or delegitimize anybody else who's doing it far better than we are. Because we're the god of gacha. How could we do anything wrong? It's so delusional, bro. This entire video is so delusional.
But that's actually only half the story. The other half of the problem, until very recently, was due to everyone else, myself included to a certain extent, not doing anything about it. The thing is that content creators don't want to deal with the rats in the first place. They don't want to speak up against them because they don't know how to respond to them whenever the rats start going crazy in the rubber rooms, right? Shoving their hands up their own assholes for their hottest trash takes and shit opinions that nobody asked for, or they're afraid of the backlash that they'll very likely receive for getting involved with the rats in any way. Or, put even more simply, they would prefer not to engage with the rats in the first place. About 2 months back, when I started getting involved in the crossfire myself, I asked another CC, who I will keep anonymous, to see if they wanted to discuss all the drama going down, but they declined, saying that they couldn't afford to deal with any drama at the time, and I doubt they've changed their stance since. I've heard about how Saintontas and Poki had a run-in some time ago, and how it was explained to me was that Poki eventually got tired of dealing with Saint's shit and decided to apologize just so that he could get out of it, with Tectone of all people acting as a mediator of all things, assuming he wasn't just backing Saintontas' ass the entire time. If that's more or less accurate, then that should go on to show you that even a streamer of Poki size doesn't want to deal with shit like that.
Bro could literally just watch the 30 public videos regarding the matter, and he would be able to understand far more than a Discord summary message. Poki, quote-unquote, apologized, and the way that Poki apologized was by repeatedly calling me a dog and subhuman during his apology. So, no, I've been farming the fuck out of him ever since, because he's an incredibly disrespectful piece of shit. What do you want me to say? Yeah, if your apology consists of you referring to me as dog and subhuman the entire time, I will farm you until the end of time. Don't worry about it. It will keep happening. That's kind of it. And the thing is that, again, he's accusing others of one-sidedly representing issues. And he decided to go ahead and take somebody's summary of the matter and recite it as fact. Because he's too lazy, or maybe he's too busy because he's playing 15 other gacha games, to actually do his own research to give a real take on it. He just regurgitates somebody else's and assumes that it's true. Wow, what a banger.
Should go on to show you that even a streamer of Poki size doesn't want to deal with shit like that. Hey,
no, Poki doesn't want to deal with me because he got fucking clapped and embarrassed. Poki doesn't want to deal with me because he publicly said that he was going to cook me in a debate about Honkai Star Rail because I hadn't played the game for 8 months. We proceeded to have our debate, and he got dog-walked like he's a fucking Uma Musume horse, and I'm the trainer. He got absolutely fucking dismantled by somebody who had taken a break from the game for 8 months, when he plays Honkai Star Rail every single day. That's why Pokey doesn't want to engage anymore, because he's literally scared for his fucking life. That's why he has never been on a call with me ever since, because I literally think I give him PTSD. Because I would fucking have it too. I would literally have it too if I got into a woo-wah debate with somebody who hadn't played the game for a year and then they completely fucking killed me. I'd be terrified. I think anyone would be. I think anybody would be in that situation. Bro, with no prep time, no prep at all, no practice, you got fucking obliterated by this person. Of course you would avoid them for the rest of time.
I myself can tell you all about the weeks following Tectone's reacts to some of my delusional gacha takes videos, and how I had the absolutely lovely experience of dealing with some of his more delusional viewers coming into my chat to regurgitate the same ad hominem insults that their dear leader Kim Jong-un shoved down their throats in his own streams. I can tell you all about the fucking retards who showed up in my chat to do nothing but glaze the shit straight out of Saintontas' gaping asshole. Obviously not all of their viewers are that brain dead. At the very least, for the moment anyway, it's only a few of them so far that have bothered going out of their way to talk shit.
You guys notice that Tohu has had numerous mentions of our content basically coming out of our butthole, being a pile of shit, but he hasn't played a single clip. He hasn't played a single video. He hasn't played anything. All he's done is throw up thumbnails on the screen. There's not a single take by any person in this video so far, and it's been 21 minutes. You have not heard a single take from any of the parties that he's accused of creating shit from their ass and then uploading it to YouTube. I think that speaks volumes. There's literally no clips from other creators in here, bro. There's literally nothing. It's just him summarizing their content without playing a single second of it and just telling you what it is.
But the fact of the matter is that with slop creators like them, there's a very good chance that they'll have at least a handful of viewers who unironically guzzle the shit that's coming out of their mouth.
How are we slop creators when you were too lazy to even bring any proof at all to any of your accusations? Isn't what he's doing the definition of slop? Literally too lazy to even bring any proof, and all we've said is that they're doing things, and that's it.
While I can deal with the occasional drone from Tectones or Itomas or Saintontas' chats or whichever chat of a dogshit streamer they're from coming into mine to start.
And on the topic of one-sidedly representing issues, why do you think he never went over these DMs? Begging to be on the Gacha podcast, begging for sponsorships, begging for money, begging for a job. Why do you think he just called everybody calling him God of Beggars, like some retard Tectone viewer, when this is the reason why people are calling him the God of Beggars? Bro just acts like this video is not going to exist anymore. He has no shame.
Talking trash to me personally, obviously I see why other streamers wouldn't want to. If streamers have the choice, then I would assume that most of them would rather not have to deal with people like that in the first place. And if minding their own business is what keeps them out of drama, then of course they'll keep their mouths shut. But
Tohu, when was your last collab? Wasn't your last collab on the Gacha Cast, which you begged to be invited to? What are we doing out here going ahead and claiming that other people don't want to deal with the people that we're talking about, when the only collab that we've been on in the past 2 years is after we begged somebody to be on it? And that same person that we begged for a collab, Tectone, we're also talking shit about them in this video. When in reality, without Tectone, this guy would not have had a single collab in like 3 years. Bro, what's going on here?
even if their reasons for not wanting to get involved are understandable, that doesn't change the fact that with no one to keep the rats in check, they can run around causing as much havoc as they want. And whenever someone does try to speak up against them, they'll just use smear and intimidation tactics to silence them and get back.
Smear and intimidation tactics? All I do is I spit facts in all of those videos. Again, why do you think he's not playing any of them? Why do you think he's only showing thumbnails, spreading misinformation about what's in those videos, and then going forward from there? Why do you think he's doing that? Because he can't actually refute any of the things that are being said in here. I would even go so far as to say, is this qualify as fucking defamation at this point? Bro's just out here summarizing videos he didn't watch and then is saying that there's misinformation in them without any proof at all. He's just saying all of these are filled with misinfo, false accusations, all of that stuff. And he doesn't play a single clip.
back to chewing on whatever the fuck they want, whatever pushes their agenda further. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm not exactly blameless myself in this situation either. As someone who goes around calling himself the god of gacha, this is something that I should have seen coming, or at least I think I should have, and something that I certainly should have at least tried calling attention to sooner, to warn the greater gacha community about before things started getting out of hand. I mean, even Mugen called him a fucking clown as far ago as last year, so he was very likely one of the first ones to see Saintontas for what he truly is. It's too bad the rest of us didn't follow suit. Hell, I remember a part of me thinking last year when I first heard about this Saintontas dude.
Oh, you mean that situation where Mugen was actually the one that was unfortunately spreading misinfo about me? You mean that one where Tectone actually called out Mugen for that video that he made about me? Oh, we're talking about that one. Ooh, yeah, that's a little rough. Yeah, most people would say Mugen's video about me is one of the few misses that he's made in his career. Yeah, most would consider that to be one of Mugen's only misses, and he used that as the reference here. That's rough. That's rough.
Going off the deep end about Wuthering Waves, that he was just going to be a flash in the pan and that nothing would come of his hate boner for gacha games. But then again, perhaps even if I did do something back then, it wouldn't have really mattered. But not anymore. Because the good news is that now people are starting to speak up against the rats, or at least against Saintontas now that for some reason he really wants to die on the hill of miasma is a shit mechanic in Zenless.
It is, it's fucking terrible. Why do you think nobody's playing the game? Well, I mean, it's because the 2.0 patch is bad, but because it's miasma is also just a terrible sign for things to come. In what way does miasma add to Zenless Zone Zero? I ask anybody that question, nobody has an answer. How does miasma make Zenless Zone Zero better? Nobody has ever had an actual answer to that question.
Videos from people.
The only videos about miasma talk about how it's not really that bad. That's the universal take. Miasma really isn't that bad. Miasma isn't as bad as you think.
People like Flip and others calling out Saintontas for his bullshit. And while it took a bit for people to finally get fed up with him enough to do that, it's better a little late than never. And if Saintontas wants to keep rattling his little cage like the pet hamster he is and guess who owns him, then he can expect to keep getting his ass tossed into the microwave and get cooked some more. We even got—
You want to know what the best part is about all these channels that he's talking about that are cooking me? Every single channel that he just put up there is actually killing their channel. Because they're slowly starting to realize that that's the only way for them to ever get views. Ever. Is to talk about me. And so their channel ends up transforming into not a gacha channel about their takes, but it becomes a gacha fan channel for me. And that is the current state of about 7 to 8 ZZZ content creators. Their channels aren't for ZZZ content. They're fan channels about my takes. And that's what they've turned into. And that's the only thing that will ever get views on their channel. They have tied any level of their success to whether or not I make ZZZ videos. Now we got Ryuku. Let's hear some more about this one. Can't wait for this.
Got Ryuku out here apparently leaking his DMs with Tectone just to show how much of a fucking bald-ass rat he is. Ayo, Baldy, it don't feel so good when somebody else leaks your DMs now, does it?
I don't think Tectone cared that those DMs were leaked. In fact, I'm pretty sure the universal take from Ryuku leaking Ryuku's DMs is that everyone thinks Ryuku's a fucking schizo loser who freaks out about super small things. And nobody can have a real actual conversation with him without him fucking getting a couple of screws loose and crashing out on you. Why would Tectone be mad about those DMs being leaked? And you want to know the funniest thing about it? Tectone actually leaked those DMs first. He leaked them first anyways, and so naturally he wouldn't even give a shit about what's on them.
I thought getting filtered by Limbus Company was bad enough for you, but this is just embarrassing. Because of this,
Why are we talking about? What are we doing here talking about anyone else looking embarrassing in any context? How do we have the cajones to do that when there's an entire 168k view video on every single way that we've begged somebody else to make our career for us? Come on, man. No.
As people are finally starting to realize that these rats are becoming more and more of a problem in our community, I'm making this video to urge everyone and anyone out there who truly cares about gacha games as a whole, which ideally should be all of us, regular players and content creators alike, to take a stand against these rats. These tourists who masquerade around as gacha players but contribute nothing to our scene other than push agendas, spread false information, bloat the space with
proof,
slop, and or harass other players and
proof
CCs online who go against their agenda.
Is there proof, or is he just going to say that's what everybody's doing? Because there hasn't been proof for anything in this entire video.
People already love doing all that shit all over social media right now, and I don't know about you, but I would personally rather not see that happening here in the gacha space either, more than it already would have. Now, some of you may say, hey Tuhu, you're not
God of defamation.
exactly a paragon of great behavior either. You've made a few videos that could be seen as harassment with how harsh your language was. In particular, the delusional Gacha Takes 3 video where you roasted Ryuku over his tweet in regards to Genshin and Wuwa splash arts. You've been talking a whole lot of shit yourself, even in this video, about content creators that you don't like. And of course, there's a whole god of beggars and god of unemployment thing that's a favorite among the rodents in the sewers, known as Tectone's YouTube and Twitch channels. For my delusional Gacha Takes videos, you wouldn't be wrong. I deliberately cranked up the shock factor in those videos by using very harsh language to attract new viewers. But even if I ignored the rats that those videos also attracted, I couldn't ignore the fact that even viewers who weren't rats were questioning why I felt the need to be that harsh. That's why, for my delusional takes videos 4 and 5, I've toned down my aggressive language significantly. While I'll still gladly talk shit on the slop creators as I've demonstrated throughout this video, I do not want my shit talking to totally dominate those videos anymore. Because I've come to realize that if I were to keep making videos like that, I myself would eventually become no different than the creators I'm criticizing here. I myself will become what I am telling people to fight against.
What is this crusade that bro is on? I've never seen somebody get this down in the dumps to go defend gacha games before, ever in my life. It's not even a matter of like, oh, the game's not doing it that bad. He's just using the universal take of all gachas are bad. It doesn't matter how bad they are, because they're all bad, you can't critique any of them. That's his take. If you dare to critique a gacha game, you're just creating drama. You're just creating slop. You're making the community worse. Don't critique anything, because we're all down in the dumps together. And the funny thing is, he just went over in this video the past times that he's critiqued Genshin Impact and talked about the ways that it could be better. Doesn't he fall into his own same exact vein? Isn't he the biggest hypocrite in this situation? When the only issue that he has is that people are daring to critique when all gachas are bad anyways, and is limiting or reducing people's enjoyment of the game, isn't that all that his prior videos and prior critiques on Genshin, isn't that what's happening over there? He's reducing the enjoyment of Genshin Impact players by pointing out the flaws in the game. It's okay when he does it. It's not okay when anyone else does it.
To mention with Ryuku in particular, since this is rather topical at the moment, while I'm not a big fan of his past behavior on Twitter with tweets like these that he's since deleted because he's gotten accepted into a Wuthering Waves content creator program of some kind, and while he and I clearly have differing views on various gacha topics, what I'm even less of a fan of is how Tectone behaved towards Ryuku recently.
We got the god of unemployment and the god of tuners shaking hands. Oh boy, can't wait for this collab.
Well, that just because Ryuku had a take that Tectone didn't like, huh? At least Tectone sent his rats my way after I roasted his divorce in one of my React videos from 2 months ago, which I actually took back and apologized for soon after in the same video, by the way. But yeah, I'll take back what I said about Techie's wife, because I don't know the full situation there. All I heard was Freem leaving his sorry ass. But if there's more details to that I'm not aware of, then all right.
Yeah, so if in your apology you're referring to him as sorry ass, yeah, that's maybe why nobody cared about the apology. Much like how if Pokey were to make an apology and then also refer to the person he's apologizing to as a dog, they're probably not going to take it very seriously either. Yeah, that's kind of how it works.
I'll refrain from commenting on that from now on. But not surprisingly, I guess Tectone didn't see that part now, did he?
I'm pretty sure he did, and he thought your apology was dog shit, so he didn't accept it. Probably because, well, it was a dog shit apology, and I think you're too autistic to realize that your apology was not actually an apology.
All this to say, even if you're not a rat, you still might not like me for any number of reasons. You might not like how I call myself the god of gacha. You might not like how I've done several of my videos in the past. You might not like the fact that I have body pillows of VTubers on the wall behind me, because you think that's cringe.
One of the big reasons why people don't like you is that you're on the record begging another creator to do basically everything for you, to get you a job, to give you a loan, to give you a place to stay, to give you sponsors, to give you all of these things. You're on the record begging them for that, and then they didn't want to give you everything, and so you proceeded to turn on them and create a bunch of negative content about them because they didn't make your career for you. That's why people don't like you, and that's why people think you're a joke, because that's all things that have actually happened. There's actual proof of it in this video, and in your attempts to take down other creators, to talk negatively about them, to frame these narratives that they're toxic, that they're bad for the space, you've only hurled around accusations, and yet you proceed not to have a single clip anywhere in your video. You just throw up a bunch of thumbnails and then lie about what's in their videos.
And that's fine, because the biggest priority that I have right now is to help clean up the gacha community online and educate people on gacha games with upcoming videos like these so that we as a community are better informed and better equipped to deal with the agenda pushers and the clout chasers.
Whoa, buddy boy. How to improve Wuwa? Wait, aren't all gacha games bad anyways? And so aren't you just diminishing Wuwa players' enjoyment of their game by daring to point out what's wrong with the game? Wait, you're being so toxic over here. Why are you doing that? Can't people just play their games and enjoy them? Why are you saying that there are things wrong with Wuwa? Whoa. That's not acceptable behavior for the god of gacha himself. What's going on here?
And not just me either, this is the biggest priority that I want ideally all of us gacha players to have right now. Because the more people know about gacha games, the more likely they'll be able to tell when rats like Saintontas and the rest of them are trying to bullshit them.
It's rules for thee, not for me. And the reason why Tohu's upset, the reason why Tohu makes any of this content, is because he makes the same exact content that everyone else does. Everybody that he's calling a rat. But his content doesn't get the views. And so because he's not getting the views and he's the god of gacha, everyone else that is the rat. They're the issue, they're the problem. Because he's the only one that deserves to make this sort of critical content. Because he knows the best. Because his isn't slop, but everyone else's is.
And at the risk of sounding like I'm ego farming, who better to teach people about gacha games than the dude who spent the last 8 years playing 15 of them. Sorry, the horse girl's got me. Goldship abducted my ass and now she wants me to spam speed training for the next hour. But it's not just the knowledge, it's about having the right attitude as well. The willingness to learn about gachas, to have conversations about them, even if that means talking to people who have different opinions than you. You can grind all the gacha you want, but if you have a piece of shit attitude, then you end up just becoming some dipshit who thinks that HP inflation and miasma are legitimate problems in Zenless. And Saintontas doesn't even grind that game. He apparently only plays Zenless like once a month, by his own words, by the way. So what chance did he have of becoming anything else?
The game has had 100% HP inflation in 5 updates. Zenless Zone Zero has had 100% HP inflation in 5 updates. But of course, because he's busy playing 15 games and uploading content on all of them, I don't think he's actually kept up with the meta state of Zenless Zone Zero. Again, he's out here spreading a bunch of bullshit about content he didn't watch, pretending he did watch it so that he could just lie about it in this video.
But all off, besides my sheer gacha experience, I've been down in the trenches. I know what it feels like to get targeted by the rats. I've seen my content get dislike bombed. I've seen people I've never even heard of, like before 2 months ago, start talking shit on me because bandwagon is all they know when it comes to content creation. And most importantly, I know my shit and I can handle my own fair share of trash talk.
Tohu, everyone's talking about you because you're one of the most self-unaware losers in the space, where you've gone ahead and you've put yourself on a pedestal, claim that you're better than everyone else, more equipped than everyone else, and the only noticeable track record you have is begging everyone else to do things for you. Brother, it is like you are quite literally one of the biggest laughingstocks in the space, but you won't shut up, you won't say sorry, you just keep coming back for more. And that's, everyone literally thinks you're like a remarkable human being. To be able to be like just this disillusioned with what's actually going on with your career. And it's fascinating. You're like a circus show. You are the content creator equivalent of like a wacky circus show.
Rats think that calling me shit like god of beggars and god of unemployment was really gonna get me shook. Think they're gonna need some better ammo than that, man. I don't know. Hey, yo, Baldy, got some more lead left in the blicky? You might need to dig a little deeper into your DMs, I think. That worked last time. What you got for me this time, bitch? And while I mentioned before that other
And it's just, this is what I mean. It's just, most people would just stop after this. But he's not going to. Like, bro's out here talking about this stuff like it doesn't mean anything. But it does. It means so much to have all of this stuff out here. It's embarrassing.
CCs out there have already made videos calling out some of the rats and the shit they're trying to pull. I think that someone out there needs to make a video calling on everyone in the gacha space as a whole who calls themselves true gacha enjoyers to see the rats for what they truly are and what they've been doing for the past 6 months or longer. And if no one else out there has made one yet or is willing to make it, well, you're watching it right now, because who better to make a video like that than yours truly.
And in this video, he doesn't provide a single clip or a single soundbite, or any proof at all. There's literally none. There's not a single clip in this video showing any of the accusations he's made. Not a single one. And if there is a clip, there's no audio.
And the reason why I say everyone is because on our own, as individual players and even individual content creators, it will not be easy dealing with the rats. They're loud, they're obnoxious, and they don't give a fuck about anything other than pushing their own narrative or their agenda.
Yeah, it's really hard to deal with rats, or I guess reasonable people, when you don't provide any proof at all and you just say shit, which is this entire video. And any of these rats that you're talking about that watch this will be like, where's the fucking proof? He just said a bunch of shit, made a bunch of claims, and proved literally nothing. Am I just supposed to believe him for what he's saying? Because he's the god of gacha. And the answer is a unilateral. Fuck no, bro.
And anything and anyone that doesn't fit it, they spread their ass cheeks open and start shitting everywhere. Because the bigger pieces of shit they are, the harder it becomes for them to be dealt with.
I think Tohu has a scat fetish. I'm just gonna say it here. The number of times that he's talked about, like, people spreading their assholes and then shitting everywhere and then, like, pulling stuff out of their ass and, like, putting their hand in their ass to pull out shit. The number of times that he said that in this video is crazy. It's crazy, bro. Nah, at this point, I've heard it at least like 7 or 8 times. There surely has to be a different way to say that you don't agree with somebody's take, other than like spreading cheeks. Brother, come on.
Normally, in most other communities online, the best course of action to deal with people and creators like this is to simply ignore them, right? Let them talk their shit, and eventually, hopefully, they get bored and move on to other stuff, or they'll make a really bad mistake, get themselves into some drama, and then leave that way. But unfortunately, in this case, for us in the gacha space, I don't think that's gonna work. Saintontas will keep making his dog shit content from that little hamster cage of his, and he's only gotten worse over the past year now that he's routinely escaping from his cage to go attack other creators. Tekton is gonna keep calling other content creators that he doesn't like for whatever reason pedophiles, and as I said at the beginning of the video, more and more people will see their behavior and try to emulate them.
Bro went over here and said that I am attacking Flip when Flip made a video about me first, and then I responded to it. That's what he's constituting as an attack. When Flip makes the content on me first. And bro is putting Age on here. That's Age, right? Saying that I attacked Age for making a reaction to her video where all I did was agree with her takes. This guy is literally just lying. He is literally just lying in this video and saying things that literally did not happen. Wait, this is actually just defamation. This is just defamation at this point. Bro is saying that I'm attacking creators that either attacked me first or that I didn't even attack at all. Holy shit. Bro's just straight up lying.
Hamster cage of his, and he's only gotten worse over the past year now that he's routinely escaping from his cage to go attack other creators. Tekton is gonna keep calling other content creators that he doesn't like for whatever reason pedophiles, and
well, if they call him a rapist first, yeah, maybe.
as I said at the beginning of the video, more and more people will see their behavior and try to emulate them to make the rat infestation even worse. I've spent the last 2 months observing the gacha space, seeing how things play out, because my channel getting attacked by Tekton's rats from...
Similarly, when Tohu calls me a rat or says that I'm pulling shit out of my ass, that gives me enough grounds to call him a stupid fucking idiot. A really, really stupid fucking idiot. I think I'm on the moral high ground to say that.
what, 2 months ago? Maybe that was an isolated case. Maybe they only came after my ass because of my whole, gacha god thing, which is at least somewhat understandable, if that's the case. But as it turns out, no, I'm far from a one-off case. The rats really do just go after anyone and anything that doesn't subscribe to their agenda, or if they happen to offend their fragile egos, which means that the only chance that the rest of us have at fighting back is to simply be louder than them.
Guy's talking about fragile egos when he makes a literal series about delusional gacha takes because he got so offended on behalf of a game that he had to go in and make a whole series about it.
And I don't just mean that in a, be more active on social media kind of way. No, we have to make more content than them, and we have to make more content on them. All those videos and tweets that people have been making recently calling out Saintontas' misinformation and bullshit, yeah, more of those, please. We have to keep up the pressure on them because their kind of content and behavior does not benefit anyone or anything.
Please keep making them. I'm begging you. Please keep making them and fast track your channel to an early demise. Keep doing it. I'm telling you. It's working out wonderfully for a lot of creators. They drop a couple vids on me, lie about me, appeal to my haters. They get like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 views using my name, and then their channel is effectively useless afterwards. Where the only thing that will ever get views from that channel moving forward is more content about me. That is what the God of Gacha is telling you to do, creators. Become a walking advertisement for my takes in my channel, and proceed to bankrupt and destroy your own in the process. Because he's literally done it himself. He's made himself into a drama channel where the only time that he ends up getting views is when he talks shit about other people. And the end result is that nothing else he has is getting any engagement at all. Because that's the only thing that gets into the algo for him, is him making content on other people and on their takes because his takes are too fucking unpalatable for pretty much 99% of the population. Please take this guy's advice. He knows exactly what to do. He's tasted success. For sure.
In the overall gacha community accept themselves. And besides, if their agenda doesn't tolerate anything that goes against what they like, then why should they expect to be treated any differently? But that cannot be the only content that we make. I can't stress this enough. We also have to keep doing what we've already been doing. That is, making content on gacha games we enjoy. Be it character guides, endgame runs, drawing fan art, and making cosplays even, because that's content too. And all in a civil manner, of course. Even if the rats try to attack us and try to force us to stop, we cannot let them dissuade us from both calling their asses out and doing what we've been doing before they showed up.
Dude, he sounds like he's got the fucking tinfoil hat. He's like, oh, we gotta make sure that you gotta watch out for them. Because you know that they'll do all these bad things because they're such evil people.
Cancer they are. In other words, I urge everyone out there, both regular players and content creators alike, to take pride in your gachas and your content, as long as you make your content in earnest without having an ulterior motive, and you don't feel the need to indiscriminately shit on other games and creators like the rats do. And for those of you out there, regardless of if you're a content creator or just a regular player, who feel like, none of this has anything to do with you, right? You don't plan on making any drama content or otherwise getting yourself involved in any of this in any way, and thus none of the rats should have any reason to attack you in particular, and so you'll just carry on as usual. Here's the thing. I think that it's less a matter of if and more a matter of when. While you could try to stay low and just mind your own business to avoid alerting the horde, anything you say or do, the rats will use as an excuse to harass you if they find any reason at all to go after you. You can make a video pointing out the mistakes in Saintontas' videos. You can be initially on his side, then try to cut ties with him, and then apologize for it later because he threw his rats at you. You can have a disagreement with Tectone on Discord. You can make an 11-minute video glazing the fuck out of Wuwa, but say one tangentially bad thing about it, and pretty soon you'll have a rat infestation on your ass before you know it. Hell, all you really need to do is just say something like, oh, I like NTE, or I like Genshin, and some rat will come along and hit you with the, oh, so you hate Wuwa? And again, if streamers like Pokey...
Proof? Where's the proof? Again, he didn't play a single one of those videos. And believe me, I've seen all the videos that he posted. His summaries are entirely wrong. His summary of every single video that he brought up on the side over here is incorrect. Flip lied in this video. Almost the entire video is filled with lies. That's what makes the title, Spreading Lies Plus Misinfo, so unironically funny. In this video over here, Arikado shits on people drama farming me and says that they're fucking stupid and that they're putting their channels into an early grave. And because Tohu didn't watch it, he's viewing it as something that's supporting my drama farmers. He's literally just reading these thumbnails, reading the title, and then drawing his own conclusions from the video and making up their contents to try to bolster his argument. He's calling out other people for being slop creators, and he's too lazy to even watch the videos he's trying to use as ammunition.
You can have a disagreement with Tectone on Discord. You can make an 11-minute video glazing the fuck out of Wuwa, but say one tangentially bad thing about it, and pretty soon you'll have a rat infestation on your ass before you know it.
He doesn't even know why people were mad at Doro. They weren't mad at Doro for critiquing Wuwa. They were mad at Doro because he critiqued Wuwa for something that's in Hoyo games. And he's on the record, literally, metaphorically coming himself to the equivalent in Hoyo games. That's why people were mad at him. Not because he made a critique for Wuwa, because he was literally jizzing himself to the same exact critique in a Hoyo game and saying it was the best thing ever. That's the only reason. They don't care about his critique. They're just like, why are you saying it's a bad thing in Wuwa when you jizz to it in a Hoyo game? It's just that simple. And he's over here horrifyingly misrepresenting every single one of these things that he's using as proof.
All you really need to do is just say something like, oh, I like NTE, or I like Genshin, and some rat will come along and hit you with the, oh, so you hate Wuwa? And
proof?
again, if streamers like Pokey, Envy, and Genizod aren't safe from the rat harassment, what makes you think you're any exception?
This is a crazy team up. It's like I'm playing Marvel Rivals, but like I'm on LSD. This is a crazy team up, bro. This is like the Nightmare Blunt rotation. What is this grouping of people? I don't think any of these guys is happy to be in this grouping. I don't think anybody likes being in this grouping. Like, I don't think anyone's being done favors over here. This is crazy. What the fuck? Oh my lord, bro.
So, fellow gacha gamers, it's time. It's time to take a stand against the growing tide of rats, to fight against them and their agenda, the misinformation, and their deliberate vitriol. Gacha games belong to gacha gamers, not to the vermin who are only interested in spreading their own version of the fucking bubonic plague. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather not see these rats run around as they please in my domain. Sorry, actually, let me correct myself.
He's so retarded.
Our domain. But this problem ain't gonna clean itself up, boys. We have to get in there, myself included, and get our hands dirty and clean this shit up ourselves. Now, I understand that there are some content creators out there who will still refrain from taking a stand due to various reasons, whether personal or contractual.
They're not gonna take a stand because you literally are schizophrenic, bro. I feel like the only way you could have been motivated to make this video was because there was like a voice inside your head telling you to.
Then is that you avoid the rats and prevent them from influencing your words, your actions, your communities if you have one. As long as you and your communities understand that their actions do not serve the best interests of the overall gacha community whatsoever, that's the least you can do. I also want to emphasize that while I've talked plenty of trash throughout this video, I want to keep it within the realm of gacha. What I mean by that is this. Take Tectone, for example, right? I've thrown quite a few shots at him throughout this video already, but I'm also aware that he's gotten himself into plenty of other shit in the past 2 months. Don't get me wrong, while I would love to jump on this chance to roast his ass even more, I want to refrain from doing that because then that would no longer be about gacha games, and then I'd just be attacking him as a general content creator. I only give a fuck about gacha games as far as I'm concerned as a CC, and so I'll only pull the trigger on stuff that Tectone does in regards to gacha.
No, you're just literally too scared to talk about him again outside of any context because you know he will obliterate you. And no joke, he will find a DM somewhere that will somehow make, honestly, I'm kind of impressed that there's potential for this to be even worse. I think most people would consider this to be like a fucking, like a level 10, like dragon warning. Like fucking sound alert notice going off. Like, it's fucking over after this. And the fact that there's potential for this one to get even worse is insane.
If he wants to drama slop about anything else, fine by me. That's his problem and not mine. So he can go off and pick fights with people like, I don't know, Hassan and Ludwig all he wants. I don't give a fuck. I made the mistake of bringing up his divorce, and as I showed earlier, I already apologized for that and took it back. And I still want to—
Yeah, by referring to him as a sorry ass in said apology, which pretty much no one is going to take at face value, but you're too autistic to realize that.
stand by that, by the way, even if Tectone himself clearly didn't see the apology part and started leaking our fucking DMs because of it.
It's literally like somebody apologized to you, then immediately in the same sentence calls you a fucking retard. Like, would you take their apology seriously? The answer is likely not.
That's okay though. He might be the bigger streamer, but I am the bigger man. And yes, even with the anime body pillows in the back. And I want to extend this to all the other slop creators too, for better or for worse. I'll only pull the trigger on my videos when it's related to gacha. Otherwise, aside from small trash talk like calling Saintontas a hamster or calling Itoma Timu Clint Stevens, anything else that's not related to gacha at all, like personal stuff or other content that doesn't have anything to do with gacha in the
I will call you the human version of a restraining order.
first place, will be left alone. I'd like to ask to be given the same treatment, but I don't know, for some reason, I don't think that's gonna happen. Speaking of treatment, for those of you who also don't like the rats or the slop creators, I'd like to ask that you try to do the same. Keep it to gacha, and don't make your comments personal. That's what rats do, and you guys are not rats. You guys are better than that. Finally, I mentioned this very briefly earlier, but I want to reiterate it at the end of the video here. Not all of the people who watch the slop creators like Saintontas and Tectone and the others are rats themselves. While I've generalized and talked a lot of trash about the rats as a whole so far, I want to make it clear that
I think he's getting into like some needless shit. I think he ends it with another fucking 7-minute AMV. So I think we're good into here. It looks like he's just getting into disclaimers to try to cover whatever ass he has left after fucking Tectone incinerated his entire body 2 months ago. Tohu Sniper is so cooked. He is legitimately one of like the most cooked individuals I've ever seen before. And the thing is, it's so ironic that he's out here trying to call other people rats, trying to shift the narrative. And across this entire video, accuses other people of one-sidedly representing issues when he literally has omitted so much context. I'm pretty sure this entire video can now be considered actual fanfiction. I have never seen somebody misconstrue, missummarize, and just straight up lie about the content of videos while putting up their thumbnail just to make up arguments that fit whatever narrative he's trying to push right now. I have never seen somebody so desperate to make money to the point where they're going to upload this video clog it up with bullshit AMVs that look like they were made in 2010, but somehow feature footage of games in 2025, and it's just so pathetic, it is unbelievable. I know we played it on high speed, and I know it's been fucking long, but thank you for staying along with the ride if you're still here, and hopefully this has highlighted why this god of gacha is one of the fakest individuals in the space. Next time you see anybody say something like this in this fashion, these broad sweeping claims, these crazy generalizations, these false accusations, all you gotta do is one thing. You ask him for proof. Cause Tohu, in 46 minutes of video, was not able to show proof a single time. And that is kind of fucking impressive. Let me know what you think about this one, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was a steaming pile of doggy doo-doo. And yeah, let me know what you all think.